All right, everybody. There's a major story brewing right now that is getting buried because of all of the attention on tariffs or Trump and former First Buddy Elon Musk fighting, or the accusation that the Biden White House was pulling a weekend at Bernie's on all of us. It's time to focus up. Anyone watching this channel knows that Trump is a wannabe dictator, but he is now demanding that federal workers declare their allegiance not to the Constitution or to America like they usually do, but to Trump himself. And they have to do it in writing. And by the way, I have more than one example to play for you. Now, before I get us both extremely fired up, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button so that we here at Really American Media can keep highlighting stories like this that you have got to hear and share. Speaking of the stories that we've been highlighting here, you've probably seen a lot of the videos from angry people at town halls, which are great. They show us what's on the minds of everyday Americans, and I would definitely encourage you to show up to the next one in your town. Please do. But yesterday, former CNN anchor Jim Acosta hosted a town hall in our nation's capital, and what this woman said shocked the entire room.
DOD employee and veteran. And let me tell you something. 2 days ago, I got an email with the new employee standards for federal workers, and it includes not only a loyalty pledge, but a 2-page essay on why you support the Trump administration or the current administration for federal workers.
Now, I don't know if you could hear the guy in the crowd shout, "What the F?" But yeah, what the F indeed. In case you missed anything, she said, this woman self identifies as a military spouse, a veteran, and a current Department of Defense employee. In other words, she's a federal employee, and she says she got an email 2 days ago with new employee standards for federal workers that require a loyalty pledge to Trump himself via a 2-page written essay where you would need to lavish praise on the dictator in chief. And yeah, not only does the guy in the crowd scream, "What the F?" but you can hear the shock in Jim Acosta's voice as he says, "Loyalty pledge?" As if he can't believe this is real, because it shouldn't be. Now, this woman goes on to say things like this.
So our upcoming federal employees take an oath to the Constitution, but we also have to do a 2-page essay on why we support the new administration.
No.
What the literal fuck is going on? And I think that needs to be addressed by our unions more than anything.
Hey, Really American Media, does this job offer health care? Because I'm going to have a freaking aneurysm covering stories like this. Okay, listen, 2 things. First of all, you heard it from the horse's mouth. The new federal employee guidelines are requiring a written loyalty test to the new administration. Now, I know mega types hate socialism, but how do they feel about communism? Because that's what the guy that they love so much is doing to us all, and it's disgusting. And secondly, and on a lighter note, I really hate it when people use the word literally wrong. She said, "What in the literal F?" I understand and agree with the sentiment, but for the record, this part of her job wouldn't be a literal F. That's the kind of job that Trump's old mistress, Stormy Daniels, did. Her job as a porn star was a literal F. This story is about all of us getting metaphorically F'd. And just in case you're thinking, hey, maybe this seems okay for a federal worker at the Department of Defense. I mean, they work for Pete Hegseth, so maybe it's okay for them to answer that question. It's not, but maybe. Let me ask you this. What would you say to a janitor or nurse having to answer these questions?
New White House hiring guidelines sent out to federal agencies include what critics say looks like a presidential loyalty test. Candidates for civil service jobs, including janitors, nurses, engineers, lawyers, surgeons, and economists, are supposed to be asked 4 questions about their level of patriotism and support for the president's policies.
Right, because how can a janitor clean a bathroom or a nurse start an IV if they're not on board with tax cuts for the rich or tariffs or dehumanizing transgender people? This sounds like a joke, but it really is not. So what are some of these questions that Trump is asking of his employees?
One of the questions reads, how would you help advance the president's executive orders and policy priorities in this role? It goes on to ask candidates to identify 1 or 2 relevant executive orders or policy initiatives that are significant to you and explain how you would help implement them if hired.
Geez, these questions might make sense if you were working like directly in Trump's cabinet, But I don't think a nurse or an engineer can implement an executive order on banning paper straws or whatever. But this is the world we live in. This is what America voted for. And just as a reminder, tell us, Jim Acosta, who should federal workers be loyal to?
Our loyalty is to the United States of America, ma'am. Thank you for
That's the
bringing that
bottom
up.
line.
And you out there in YouTube land are also absolutely right to be outraged by this. We have got to make this story go viral. America is not a dictatorship, and our loyalty is to the country, to our fellow citizens, and not to a wannabe king. So please like, share. I want to hear your comments below. Get vocal. I'm Steve Harness from the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve podcast, available everywhere. We're doing it right here for Really American Media.